I just made a short video on this, but I really wanted to express my thoughts a little longer. Forget about it, about the Mike Tyson reaction to his loss with Jake Paul. Now, let me, for the record, say I love Mike Tyson. And I want all of you to understand this. Just because I'm critical or I have an opinion does not take away the fact that I believe Mike Tyson is the greatest heavyweight champion that has ever lived in boxing history. But with that said, I do have some criticism, okay? Mike is coming across very humble now. Very humble. You know, he's talking about before his fight with Jake Paul, he had a lot of medical emergencies. He was in the hospital. He had to have like a blood transfusion, like very serious stuff. He said he actually almost died. Now, he's also saying that the fact that he went toe-to-toe with a fighter like almost like half his age, I mean, Jake Paul's 27, he's 58, and his kids witnessed that. He goes, to me, that's a win. He goes, very, very rare. He goes, sometimes you lose, but you actually win. And he goes, and I feel I won, even though I technically lost the fight. Now, that is a very heartfelt, very humble statement. And I think all of us could agree that what Mike Tyson is saying is true. I mean, after all, he is 58. Jake Paul is 27. After all, he did have a lot of medical emergencies. And we could all relate the fact that he went toe-to-toe with Jake Paul for 8 rounds was a great accomplishment. Here's the problem. Here's the big problem. That is not the way you were speaking, Mike, before the fight. You know, first of all, we saw you in training. You looked like a friggin' bull. You looked very intimidating. I don't know if you saw his training videos, but he looked very, very intimidating. You know, he's like, I'm going to destroy. Like, you were talking like the same Mike Tyson that you always were when you were younger, to destroy him. It's his worst nightmare that he thinks that he's going to take me. You slapped Jake Paul. You slapped him. You weren't acting like a guy who was humble. You weren't acting like a guy who just wanted to go the distance. No, you acted like a guy who wanted to destroy Jake Paul. So, which one do we believe? Is it the fact that you wanted to destroy him and you were really serious about everything you were saying, and the slap in the face and the trading? Or was that all one big act? Was that all, were we just watching the Mike Tyson movie here? Like, were you just, I mean, because seriously, Mike, you can't go, listen, Mike has always been known as a killer. Like, when you get in the ring, you are the most powerful, feared, okay, boxer that has ever lived. So now you're humble. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. So was that all so that you could have a big gate, you know, and make your 40 million, which everyone knows is probably the case. So did you put on a little act, Mike? Did you put on a little act for all of us to get us all excited so that you would have a major, major turnout, which you did? 60 million people tuned in on Netflix. Major turn. I think it was the biggest, of all time. Okay, so you figured you had to play Mike Tyson, the killer act. You had to make everybody feel that you were going to destroy this guy. When in all honesty and fairness, you just wanted to go the distance and hope that, you know, you didn't have to throw a punch, which is what pretty much happened. and no one got hurt. Now, of course, I don't want Mike Tyson to get hurt. I love the guy. And nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But, I mean, he didn't really even throw a punch. I mean, it was just the first round was the only decent round. The first round, he came out, you know, a little strong, threw a couple of punches. The first round looked good, but then after that, it went completely downhill, downtown, to the point where Mike Tyson wasn't even, looked like he was afraid to throw a punch. Jake Paul looked like he was even afraid to throw a punch. For whatever the reason is, maybe he didn't want to hurt Mike or whatever the case may be, but it just was a horrible fight. It was probably the most horrible fight I've ever seen. Now, like I said, Mike Tyson went from beast to humble. Before the match, I'm going to kill Jake Paul, destroy Jake Paul, destroy him. After the match, you know, I was very sick. I was in the hospital. I had to get a blood transfusion. I almost died. The fact that I went toe-to-toe with a boxer almost half my age and my kids saw it is a major accomplishment. No. You got to pick which one you want to be, Mike. The bull or the humble guy. Which one? You've always been the bull. Okay? So, again, I just have to ask, was it all an act? That's the question. What do you think?